Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Bell Financial Group's From the Helm series. I'm Grady Wolf, Market Analyst with Bell Financial Group. Global demand and expansion into vehicle electrification is growing at a rapid pace, which drives tailwinds for companies operating in the sector. Janus Electric Holdings was founded in 2020 and offers a groundbreaking zero-emission solution for truck electrification through its swappable battery and conversion kit technology. With a target market of 80,000 trucks to convert, the future is electric for Janus. To discuss the company and its outlook, I'm thrilled to be joined by Ian Campbell, Managing Director of Janus Electric Holdings, and Lex Forsyth, Founder and COO of Janus. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Grady.
Thanks, Grady.
Could you please provide a quick summary of your background and how you came up with the idea to start Janus Electric back in 2020?
My background is transport and logistics. I come from owning and operating my own trucking fleet and selling diesel fuel to the transport industry, and my family's a long time associate in the transport industry, going back over 100 years. The reason we came up with the Janus solution was looking at how do we decarbonise transport, being one of the largest emitters worldwide for carbon emissions, but also how does it make economic sense to fleets to do this, and how do we make it agnostic to the brand of truck. So what we've developed is a solution for electrification for all truck brands and a common energy source with an exchangeable battery, so that you don't lose time parking the truck to charge it. You simply just swap the battery and continue on. And that's really the foundation of where Janus started, which now also has an energy business and an infrastructure side to the business with its charging network and battery infrastructure that is deployed around Australia.
Now, what is the profile of the trucks you are converting, and can you explain the decision that fleet operators are faced with when a diesel truck needs a new engine, or the option to change over to Janus?
Yeah, so we're converting prime movers, which is what they call a Class 8 truck. So it's from semi-trailers up to multiple trailer combinations with road trains. The simple decision that fleets are making is they're going to spend capital on trucks when they're doing the rebuild of the diesel engine. So they've already allocated capital to do that. What we're doing is providing them with a solution to be able to electrify the truck by a simple Janus conversion module being added to the front of the vehicle.
Now, who are your key customers and what are the benefits they are seeing that has led them to placing repeat orders, which is really crucial in this current market environment? What does the order pipeline look like as well?
Yeah, so key customers are obviously Cement Australia is one of our major customers with ongoing orders with trucks operating in New South Wales and Victoria, as well as Cube, Simmons Clark. A number of our clients have won work in government contracts and in large mining contracts based on zero emissions vehicles. The big reason they're making the change to the Janus solution is, one, they still have the utilisation factor for their trucks as opposed to going to a plug-in electric vehicle. They still get better utilisation with the Janus solution. The other side of it as well too is they've already got a sunk cost in the asset, so we're giving them an extension of life of their diesel truck. So what we're seeing is that then allows obviously the diesel truck a second life as an electric truck.
How does Janus differentiate itself from the fixed battery electric trucks and the likes of Volvo and other OEMs?
Thanks for the question, Grady. The main let's talk about the main differences. The first one would be it's Australian innovated and Australian made, and obviously built on New South Wales Central Coast, so the profits are going to stay within Australia. That's always one main component. The second will be operational uptime. So that refers to the fact that we can swap a battery in and out of the prime movers in less than 5 minutes. So the trucks stay on the road for longer, which means your operators earn more income per annum. So basic example, if you think about an OEM takes 3 hours to charge their fixed batteries versus our battery technology, it can come in and can go out in less than 5 minutes, doesn't sit and charge, it's around 500 hours more per annum. So that's a really significant material economic benefit for the operators of the fleets. The other component of that is the battery technology. Fixed OEMs have it set, and so therefore if it changes, therefore it's very costly to update, versus our battery system, we can keep up with that. So we just put in the new technology and we can keep swapping up. And so as more technology improves, we'll be able to move much more rapidly and address and adopt to that.
Can you please share with us an overview of the revenue model and multiple revenue streams that Janus does generate?
The important components is to break that down a little bit. So the component for us that's important is that we do get more trucks on the road. So the more trucks that are operational, running, using our ecosystem means they're utilising energy, they're utilising the kilometres and the usage and our ecosystem. So the more we get on the road, the more they use and the more we will build a recurring revenue stream. The non-recurring revenue stream is around $175,000 it takes for a truck to be converted. And so if you were just times our 142 order book that Lex mentioned, 140 times 175,000, roughly the average will be, that's $24 million just from that if we execute our existing pipeline. And the recurring revenue model, what we're charging for there is obviously the battery side, so a duty battery hire and electricity coming through, so our usage, which is a really good revenue stream. Obviously, we all know that as we replace diesel, that needs energy, and so we replace it via the energy. And then the last two parts of that is around authentication of the actual battery health. And we do that at 2:30 a.m. every morning to make sure that they're ready to go out. And when they pay a usage fee on that, but also a subscription model over the top, which is subscribing for our IP and our system, which is essentially managing the energy and the ecosystem within the truck. So at any one time, we can see the energy usage, the battery health, where the driver, the gears in. So the technology and the data is incredible what we have hold of, and they pay a subscription fee to access that.
Your newly established dealership model sounds like a great way to accelerate the rollout of the Janus solution. Can you explain how this will work and what the key benefits for Janus are of this dealership solution?
So the dealership model is really exciting for us. The dealership model essentially means that we create and produce the conversion kits using electric engines from Dana, which is a US listed company, really strong 800 million euro sort of sales volume. Electric engines have been around forever, and so enables us to send those kits, conversion kits, out to dealerships in Western Australia, where we've got one signed, South Australia, where that truck is just about completed with a dealer conversion kit, and we've signed one in Victoria, and we've now signed a dealership agreement in the US, so that's to cover the US ports, Los Angeles ports, which are some 26,000 movements per day, but also very strict on their emissions targets. So that dealership model just allows us to accelerate and expand our reach and for us to create the technology and then send that out for others to help us convert trucks and get them on the road faster.
Now, in raising around 8.7 million via the RTO, what will be the application of funds and what is the news flow that investors should be keeping an eye out for in the next 12 months?
It's not going to surprise you to hear that a lot of the funds initially certainly are going to be used to restock ourselves in terms of batteries and utilisation networks, which is our infrastructure, so our charge and change stations, and to make sure that our new facility there on the Central Coast is up to speed, safe, and we can roll out more and more vehicles off that line per month, which again goes back to the more we get on the road, the more we start getting our recurring revenue coming in. In terms of the news flow, look, we're working pretty hard on a lot of strategic partnerships, and that could be with big companies that have 50, 60 trucks that want to say, I need to work within this environment. How do we work that out? And it does take a bit of time, so we need, and these are pretty much fixed loops. So I do 300 kilometers per day, and I'm delivering from the port to a distribution center or from a mine to a port. So they're very well known. And so those are strategic alignments, but also the strategic component around JVs, or whether it's to do with our discussions in the US, our discussions in Asia with large needs. And then the final part of that would be the news flow on those that are really hammering us on the RFPs and the procurement process that Lex mentioned. Going to that is governments and procurement processes telling the companies that they have to respond with something that removes emissions from their process. And so a lot of our inquiries are coming in via how do we remove emissions from our fleet process? And so those inquiries need to come through, and hopefully that news will start to continue to flow through as we get out of the IPO process.
Now, this does seem like a business ripe for government assistance via funding and different other options there. Have you been in discussions about non-dilutive financing to accelerate the rollout at all through government agencies?
Yeah, look, I think like everybody, we've seen the announcements from ARENA, CEFC, for example. We've seen many sort of, I guess, priorities across the system to try and electrify. We're part of those discussions, and we hope to be further ingraining ourselves to make sure we're part of those discussions, and not just whether it's funding, dilutive funding, but actually involved with how to process and how to actually map this out correctly so that we get it right first time. And any government money that we do happen to be lucky enough to receive is utilised properly so that it sets up a network for the future generations, and also for the fleets in Australia to operationalise their efficiencies.
And finally, what is the feedback from the drivers in the Janus converted trucks been so far?
Look, the feedback from drivers is extremely positive. Because the vehicles operate at a much lower operating temperature, less noise, less vibration, the drivers feel less fatigued after operating the vehicles. We've even got drivers that are saying to their dispatchers now that they only want to be scheduled on in the electric truck. They don't want to be driving the diesel trucks. So it's really positive feedback, and the industry is adapting to it and embracing it as a whole, from cost efficiency savings, zero emissions, but just better conditions for the drivers operating the vehicles is a real standout.
Thank you for joining us today, Ian and Lex.
Thank you, Grady.
And thank you for joining us for this very special episode of Bell Financial Group's From the Helm series. Be sure to stay tuned for upcoming market interviews, market commentary and exclusive insight pieces.